You know, one of my favourite things ever is discovering a new debut author where you roll the dice, you take a leap of faith, and you end up loving the book. It does not get any better than that. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'll be wrapping up yet another week as we roll right on into March with Easter not too far away either. But what that means is a 4-day long weekend for me, which I am really looking forward to. I can't wait for that. So a pretty busy week this week. I did manage to put up an unboxing video of my next Book Nook project, which I started and finished this week, and I might even do a separate video on that. But it was very heavily themed on George R.R. Martin's A Dance with Dragons, so it had the sword thrown in there. The lighting was really tricky and had me swearing a couple of times because some parts of the build got very stressful, but the individual components were really cute. I mean, you have these little boxes you built that had swords in them, and the throne itself, and the dais that the throne sits on. All these little elements. It was a lot of fun, so hopefully I can look at showing that to you at some stage. Alright, now I did also release my reading possibilities for March, and as you know, if you've been watching the channel for a little while, I don't do TBR videos, just map out some possibilities that may, you know, some of those books that I listed may not come to pass, but it all depends on what kind of mood I'm in at the time throughout the month. Alright, now I also posted a video with a brand new occasional segment, so I'm not going to do too many of these, but I'm going to sprinkle them in every now and then, and that was for my very first tarot deck review, where I've got a few tarot decks to show, and it gave me an opportunity to work with overhead filming with a rig I recently brought this week as well, and it turned out fantastic, where all you see is my hands showing you the cards, and then I provide some insight on what I thought about the deck, the overall impressions, the colour palette, the themes. I go through a fair bit of detail with that video, and not many people have watched it yet, but please give it a watch because it is something just a little bit different for the channel. Okay, now I started and finished The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown, his debut novel. When this first came up on my radar, it looked alright. I mean, look, it sounded really good. It had books and magic in it. I mean, that's a killer combination, right? How could you not like that? And it's, you know, you can't argue with that combination, but I loved it. There are elements in this that I absolutely love, that I am an absolute sucker for, and I'll be talking about this book a lot more when I do a fairly detailed review that'll hopefully be put up next week. But it was just absolutely fantastic. You know, it's a debut author, someone I hadn't read before, and took a roll on the dice and thought, I'm going to give this guy a go, and absolutely loved it. The quality of the writing is great. He must have had a really good editor because it was so polished, and the pacing was great. The overall quality was indicative that, you know, you'd think it wasn't a debut novel. Fantastic read. Now, I haven't done my Mistborn 2 review for The Well of Ascension yet because last week I just ran out of time. So because there's potential content banking up that I need to get out next week, I'm going to be a little bit time poor next week as well. So I thought, look, I'd want to get something out about it. It just won't be a long review. Maybe I'll put something up, you know, about 2 to 3 minutes long, where I give my thoughts and impressions about the book, because it did start off a little bit slow, but as I hit the halfway mark, it really began to ramp up, and I raced to the finish line pretty quickly. So it's going to free up a little bit more time for me to put up some more content there. Now, that said, I spent the first 2 days of the month procrastinating and thinking about what I wanted to read next after finishing The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown, and I found myself doing a couple of false starts, picking up a couple of titles and starting them and thinking, no, I'm not really in the mood for that. And in the end, I thought, look, I really want to read Words of Radiance, Stormlight Archive 2, and I'm not going to be able to do that until I read more required reading in the Cosmere. And I thought, I'm just going to pick up The Hero of Ages, Mistborn number 3, the final volume in the Mistborn trilogy, and I just thought it's a good opportunity this month to start it because you know, I need to be ready by December for Stormlight Archive Book 5, and I'm not going to be ready if I don't continuously have my nose in a Cosmere book. I started this last night and it started off really well, so looking forward to finishing this trilogy and telling you all about it. And I can't wait to see how the story ends, because there is the stakes have never been higher in the trilogy than at the start of this book, with this growing threat that Eland and Vin have to contend with. So can't wait to share my thoughts on that. All right, now, what did I watch this week? Now, my wife and I have been taking in turns every week of picking out a movie to watch. Now, there's no rules, there are no limits. It can be something modern, it could be a new release, or it could be something retro. It was my pick last night, and just browsing through Disney's streaming service, I settled on The Hand That Rocks the Cradle from 1992, starring Rebecca De Mornay. I remember last time I saw it was when I rented it out way back when at the video store, where you'd go in to the video store and you'd see the title there without an I'm out sticker, and just picked it up and watched it. And I remembered some elements of it, as my wife did, and we ended up really enjoying it because the suspense was really good. Rebecca De Mornay in the role of the psychopath, who is the widow of a doctor who committed suicide and takes revenge on a young family. I just thought, since 1992, you would think it would be made today, apart from the clothing and a couple of other things that scream 1990s. It really stacks up very well. And if you haven't seen it in a while, I recommend you do. Ernie Hudson as Solomon, the mentally challenged Better Day worker, I think that's the name of the company he works for, who is the local handyman, shines in the role. He acted really well. And you've got a very young Madeline Zima as well. She went on to play the youngest daughter in The Nanny, as you might remember. And the stakes and the suspense, and a very young Julianne Moore in a supporting role was fantastic as well. So it was very refreshing. Didn't know what to think when we put it on, and we ended up enjoying it because the background music score and things like that added to it, and the stakes were really high, and the way that Rebecca De Mornay's character Peyton is dealt with at the end is very satisfying. So yeah, Jen's turn next week, so I don't know what's your pick, but it's a lot of fun because you get to watch things that you haven't thought about in a long time, and really enjoyable. Okay, let's talk about next week's reading. Now, it's going to be full steam ahead on The Hero of Ages. I'm going to plan on reading as much as I can of it next week, because in week 2 I'm participating in a buddy read with my friend Scott from the Bookish Bryants. We're going to be reading The Co-Worker by Freida McFadden, one of her later thrillers, and it should be a blast. And what we're going to do is read that over the course of the week and get together on a live stream and compare notes and have a chat about it, which I am really looking forward to, because I have been quite taken with Freida McFadden's work, and she is a great thriller writer, and that'll give me a bit of a break in between The Hero of Ages, and then after that, once I wrap up The Co-Worker with Scott, I'll be diving headlong in and racing to the finish line of The Hero of Ages, because I do want to read more in the Cosmere, and there are other titles I'd like to read throughout the month as well. So it's going to be a busy month overall, and yeah, bring it on. Alright, that is it for my weekly update. Thank you very much for watching. If you like and subscribe, I'll promise to deliver the best content I can, as per usual. If you have any comments, drop them below. Any feedback, I am welcome to engage you on that. But until the next video, guys, happy reading.